open up the panel if you want to respond or expound on anything or even rebuttal. Now's the time.
Yeah, you said that way back in the day when there was no technology, that BLK men appreciated our beauty. Well, then that means that they don't appreciate our beauty today. So I don't understand how you can say that it's false if they have been led to believe that someone else's beauty is the standard.
Wow. Pretty, would you like to respond?
Oh, that was to me?
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Well, the main operative word in the sentence was first. So that means first. It means not currently, what happened before. And so, yeah, in order to answer the question about first, you do have to go back, right? I can answer the question about right now, but the question states first. So that means that before they were even here, we procreated together. We were valued in some kind of a way, not all, especially for the patriarchal system, right? But not all systems in Africa were patriarchal. So what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, they were the first. It's 100% correct.
Okay, so I guess it's based on interpretation. Wait, no. We're doing a Jazz Doll and DMV right now. 1 second. So it's really based on interpretation. White teen men are first in recognizing the beauty of BOK women. Some would say, hey, they're first right now. They're first in recognizing. They're first to open up and say, hey, I believe you guys' hair is beautiful. I believe your skin is beautiful. They're more known at this time, I guess, what DMV is saying, to recognize the beauty of BOK women. Um, and you brought up the past. So you guys were doing it, I guess, based on different interpretation of what first meant. First meaning now, or first meaning initially were the first ones ever to recognize BOK beauty. And I leave it open to interpretation for conversation, but I still want to see if DMV wants to respond to Pretty.
Yeah, having the standard of for all time, you could literally prove any point if you don't have parameters or boundaries around a conversation or around communication. So when you're saying, I have to pull back all the way from there was only us around in order to say that someone appreciated my beauty, that doesn't really say that they could be first in recognizing beauty because they didn't have a point of reference. They didn't have anything to compare it to. So how is that first if you don't have a rivalry? There is no second place. There is only one place.
Wow. Pretty, would you like to respond?
Yeah, absolutely. So then let's bring it to today's day and age. In today's day and age, I grew up in Jamaica, and in Jamaica, there's a huge Rastafarian culture, right? And I will say that Rastafarian men, which is a huge subset of our society and our culture, prefer Black women or BLK women, right? So even if we put it culture, even if we put it in today's day and age, I cannot say that as a general standard across the board, outside and inside of the United States, that they are the first. No, I fully and wholeheartedly disagree with that, and I'm standing on it, right? Like, the fact of the matter is that white teen men have always understood that BLK women are attractive. However, in turn, they've also created a system that subjugated them, right? So that's always been understood. And within that same system, BLK men fell to that system and have started to think their own women are undesirable. Those things happened, right? But I will not be able to confidently and honestly say that white teen men, even in today's day and age, as a general statement, are the first to recognize BLK women's beauty. No, I fully and wholeheartedly disagree with that.
Okay, before DMV responds, if everyone can tap, tap, tap. And again, you guys, I really enjoy Pretty. I enjoy DMV, what they bring, but I can only go from what I'm observing. As though Pretty initially said, hey, BLK men were the first, right? And DMV said, hey, if you're talking about the first meaning a long, long time ago, they didn't have anyone to compare it to. And so now Pretty is saying, hey, well, even if I bring it to now, for instance, her culture being Jamaican. Now, some will say that there's a little backpedaling there because it was like so you didn't really challenge the point that they didn't have a point of. So I guess she agrees with that. That okay, yeah, they didn't have a point of reference. So let's talk about now. Now we have the Rastafarian culture that uplifts BLK beauty. That is her point. Now, I would just say, is that a collective? Because we're not going to just say let's just separate it to just Jamaicans now. As a collective, do BLK men hold BLK women as the beauty standard and recognize their beauty first? So, but I'm gonna let DMV respond, and we'll see how long.
Look into Jamaican culture and how it is one of the hugest colorist cultures on the planet. Actually, back in the day when there was slavery, they created a classist system. So they wanted to bring more white men to that region in order to light up the region. So they were having the most fair-skinned women marry the white men, to the point where it is ingrained in their community that you are lucky if you. So if you're going to say a culture, you should not have brought one subsect of a culture that is a part of an entire country. And they might have influence from the Rastafarian community, but colorism is 100% influenced by a European standard. So you literally use a country that uses the European standard to not only say that you're better, but that God has literally looked friendly upon you because you get to be favored in this community. The next thing that I wanted to say is, if you are able to have a community of men tell you that your women are not beautiful and that there is nothing about them that you should be able to appreciate when we're talking about the aesthetic, and you go with that, then that means that you never really appreciated what that person is. So let me give you a clear example of what I mean. I love dogs. I am a dog lover. It doesn't matter if it's a little ugly dog. I love dogs. Nobody is going to come to me and be able to tell me, oh my God, dogs are so dirty. Oh my God, dogs are so needy. Oh my God, you have another child in your house. Why? Because everything that would come at me from liking dogs, I would just say, well, I just clean my dog. I just make sure my dog only stays in this area. I make sure my dog doesn't go in the kitchen. I don't look at them and say, you know what? You're right. You appreciate something. If you appreciate something, there is nothing that anyone could ever tell you to take away from that appreciation. And I land.
I will say this debate is very, 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 very interesting. I mean, to have such intelligent, intellectual women have a debate on such, some would say, a controversial topic is a good way to start the morning. Some would say that DMV is cooking. I seen it in the comments. Oh wow, that was groundbreaking. But let's see, Pretty. They could respond to what she said.
Yeah, I'm for sure gonna respond. Because you brought up two things. So first of all, when I said there's a population of Rastafarian culture within our culture, right? That is to say that within every single culture, you have people who have not allowed white supremacy to influence them, right? Within any culture, right? So the fact of the matter is that's why I brought in that specific section. If you would like to talk about colorism in Jamaica, I can talk about that. But I said specifically, because there is a subsect in my culture that does value BLK women and actually puts them on a pedestal, I cannot say that every other culture in the country, in the world, does not have that same lineup, right? That's exactly what I said. That I cannot say that they don't have that same lineup. Because that's my experience overall, that there are people who reject it and there are people who accept it and live by it, I can say that, hey, I think there's a greater population, this is called reasonable deduction. I think there's a greater population of people, of Black BLK men, who value BLK women first. I can say that, right? Now, the next point, I'm glad you brought up the dog. Because, let's go ahead and think about this. Do colonize were immediately convinced that their women were unattractive or attractive? Even the third, long-term plan, right? If you literally, the people who are dog lovers, they themselves, yes, you cannot be convinced in your one lifetime to hate dogs. But I can promise you, if there was a systematic process put in place to convince you that certain dogs are bad and certain dogs are good, over time, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren would agree to that. Because that's how this thing works. We go by groupthink, and that is why when you attack BLK people, mentally and psychologically, it's even more dangerous than attacking them physically. That is why. They have said it over time and time. Yes, we have been able to enslave them, we've been able to do all this, but they still love each other. What can we do? And that is literally the point of the Willie Lynch letter, was to psychologically attack BLK women, BLK people overall, to where they would not consider each other to be valuable. That's the way you win. So you're not going to bring up the dog example. Yeah, because you yourself in your one lifetime, you wouldn't think that. But I can promise you, if there was an effort, yes, generations and generations later, they would. And I think it's really weird. No, that was not my point of view at all, and I'm not backpedaling. If you go back in time, they did. YT supremacy happened, now they don't. They've been convinced by a construct. However, if we're asking the question, who sees it first, I still do not agree that it's YT men. I still disagree with that.
All right, let's move along. Gemini, what do you think about the exchange between DMV and Pretty?
So it doesn't really make any sense to me to bring up 1% of a population to hold up a beauty standard to me when, yeah, the Jamaicans got colonized by the British, and they also instilled on their own beauty standards. Now, this is for the entirety of the Caribbean, of where, like, so my family is from Trinidad, and, you know, the Trinidadians, they also got conquered by the Spaniards and XYZ. So they also instilled their beauty standards, their culture, their language, XYZ. And it was pretty much of who was the most light, who was the closest to mimic a Eurocentric beauty standard for women, especially for women. Also, look at Brazil. Brazil is another example. Why do you think the term, I don't want to say, lotto, I don't really want to say like the actual whole M word, but the M word pretty much stemmed from mixed breed. And it stemmed from this Eurocentric feature of, can we look the most like them? If we look the most like them, then we'll have more privileges than they do. On the you can't really say that the 1% speaks for a whole entire like island or nation of people.
All right. Wow. I have a question. So we often hear and say that, hey, YT men are on top of the patriarchy. So of course they're going to uplift their women as the standard of beauty, because they're the ones who are ruling. So they're going to influence that their women are the best. Now, I actually have a question, but we're going to go to Jazz Dog. So Jazz Dog, you could be ready in a moment and see what her thoughts were on DMV and Pretty's debate. But first, I just have a question I want to throw out there to Gemini. What's your thoughts if BLK men, let's say BLK men were ruling right now, do you think that they would put BLK women as the standard of beauty? Or do you think that they would uplift another race as a standard of beauty, even if they were ruling? What's your thoughts on that?
So I feel like this would just kind of be my personal intake on this, is I don't really feel like they wouldn't really hold us to a high beauty standard. If you look at if you look at men that are on these podcasts or, you know, preaching about, you know, what do you call it? Racially ambiguous. It's like they find things that they like about our features, but they don't actually hold us to a standard. It's like they want features that we have naturally on another woman. And if that was it entirely, I feel like light-skinned women or biracial women would be their uphold standard of a beauty standard. because it's never
So you don't
actually
think
a Black woman.
Okay, so you don't think that? Just let me finish. You don't think that that would change if they were on top of the patriarchy? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, hey, we say that BLK men, they are brainwashed by white tea supremacists, and they want to be close to white T-ness and success. So if they were successful, you think that wouldn't change? So they were, when I say successful, I'm not saying that BLK men aren't successful. I'm talking about as a collective. If they were on the top of the patriarchy, you don't think that that would change?
I feel like there would be a higher rate of the options being opened up for BLK men. Because yeah, they can say like, you know, BLK women are beautiful, but I don't really feel like they would still hold us to the same standard, because once they're, you know, quote unquote at the top, you know, who's to stopping them from conquering other places and conquering other women and seeing what they can also produce from those other women.
Okay, thank you for chiming in.
I got this thing, this reason. They don't like the reasons, and that's fine, but they still are there. We are biologically different wired than you. So only society. Baby mamas, you got one baby over here, one baby. Kids over there, son, men only 5'6", kind of fat. Ain't that funny? So our standard of the best has risen for women. Your options have always been there sexually. Women have way more sexual options than.
Let's see, I just got knocked out of TikTok.
Armed and dead.
What happened?
I think Sip went for the inauguration.
I called it. Said I still can't quite.
As to why he can't be the man for you. It's just an excuse. That's it. That's all.
Oh, there's Poetic. Okay, she's back.
Sorry, I got knocked off. I don't know what happened. Go ahead. You guys, so I didn't hear nothing that was said. Let's go back to the last thing that Gemini was saying.
I think real quick, Poetic, I think the audience is having audio issues.
Not anymore. I'm back now. Thank you. Go ahead. Gemini, if you could just finish your last point of how BOK men, if they were empowered, you think that they would just mix with a whole bunch of other races and they wouldn't keep BOK women as the beauty standard? Go ahead and expound.
So I'm trying to collect my thoughts about that again because we kind of got off subject. So I don't really feel like we would still be upheld as, the primary beauty standard of being a Black woman. I feel like it would be like still to today where our attributes would be desirable, but it really wouldn't be a Black woman. I feel like Black women would probably be less persecuted. But I don't really feel like that we would still be upheld as the most desirable, if that makes any sense.
I'll just let your answer be your answer for now. Let's move on. Jazz Doll, what do you think about the debate earlier with DMV and Pretty?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think that DMV did a really good job. I think here's one of the issues that I have with BOK women, and you pretty much came on the panel and you did that. Oftentimes, without us realizing it, we victimize BOK men. And what I mean by that is you turn them into victims. They are the ones walking around beating their chest saying that they are high-value men and we need to submit to them, and they're masculine, they alpha men you, and make you turn against your own women, then you're already a problem. So I don't think nobody made them or conditioned them to hate their own women. They already have that hatred in their heart. 700 years before slavery, you had the Moors, and they put their own women into servitude for the Wati Spain women. So it was never this love thing. And again, like DMV said, you brought up the Jamaican culture who heavily bleaches their skin, who heavily has a hierarchy of light bright, almost Wati. So I hate when y'all non-American BLK people try to use yourselves to make as if y'all are better. That needs to stop. So, but with that being said, you got to take BLK men out of this victimhood where they have those are men. They're males. They're men. If they can't fight out the men that come in, then we sure as hell don't need them. We sure as hell don't need them if they can't fight off another male group. I'm not going to allow a Wati woman to walk in the room and tell me nothing. And if she get in my face, I'm going to knock her teeth out of her mouth. If our men got very weak and docile and allowed another male group to manipulate them, then they're not males. And to answer the second question, if BLK men had the power, they would do exactly what I just said the Moors did. They will pedestalize and prop up all things under the sun besides the Black woman, a BLK woman. They're doing it now without the power. So just think what they would do if they had the power. These are some self-hating demonic demons who hate themselves first, and so they want to put it off on their women. I'm going to say this and I'm going to land. Earlier, y'all talked about BLK men sit on these podcasts and these red pill men sit up and they talk about BLK women are this and they single mothers and they're this and they're that. Society says you are a male, you are a man, you're in a patriarchy. Why don't you have a thriving community? Instead of him standing on business and saying, well, I lack leadership, I lack manhood, I lack these things, I'm lazy, I don't want to do nothing. What he does is he publicly bashes his woman so he can try to take the heat off of himself on why he's failing as a man. That's what they're doing. They're failures as men. So what they do is they're telling the world, she's not a woman. This is why I'm not a man. I'm not a provider because she's masculine. I'm not a protector because she's combative. I'm not a protector because she got a degree. I'm not a provider because another BLK man like myself made her a single mother. That's what they're doing. Nobody believes it but them and pygmies. So at the end of the day, and like somebody just said in the comment, they are a global failure. So if you go over there to Jamaica, they're making their women single mothers too. They're propping up other races of women too. They're doing the exact. There's nowhere you can dip your baby toe in any country where there's BLK men
where they're not lusting after anything under the sun outside of a BLK woman. And I land there.
All right. If everyone can stay on mute. The taps have been coming in very slow. Also, we're still at 0 with support of the live goal. So if we could keep that in mind and contribute to the platform. So let's tap. We should be at least 200K by now. I've been streaming for 3 hours. So if everyone can tap and also support the live goal. I wanted to highlight something Jazz Doll said, and Jazz Doll, you could respond briefly. You said that they're failures and they're blaming their own race of women for the things that they do. I'm paraphrasing. And you also said that if they were in, rulership, they would still do the same thing. They would prop up every other race of women but their own. And again, you said that they're blaming their women because they're failures. So, I mean, if they weren't quote unquote failures and they were ruling and on top of the patriarchy, why would they need to blame their women? Are they only having this disdain with BLK women because of their position? It leads back to my first question with Gemini. Would this change if their position in society was different? I think you said, I think Gemini said they would still do the same thing. We have BLK Mom. She's on YouTube right now. Woman would become the standard. Busy. So I will read the comments on YouTube. Jazz Dog, go ahead.
Yes, nothing would change. It would still be the same because when they walked into Spain, when the Moors left Africa and went to Spain, they ruled Spain in Spain. The BLK men, they were rulers, and they subjugated their women. In Africa today, the Chinese people, the Asian people are going over there and subjugating the people. They're putting up businesses in these countries, and they're putting up signs that say, no BLK people allowed. And the BLK men are allowing it. All of those countries over there is governed by BLK men, ran by BLK men, law enforced by BLK men, your politicians, BLK men. And they're still pedestalizing, they're making Asian women chiefs for tribes in those countries. They're making Asian women chiefs over all of the elected officials in a lot of those African countries today are married to YT women. And if you don't believe me, just look at Google, it's free. So these men mindsets are very warped in self-hatred. That's what the root of all of this is self-hatred. It doesn't matter what the BLK woman looks like or does. If she does not have the skin tone of a YT person, she is undesirable.
Well, hold on, Jazz Dog. So if you're saying it's because of self-hatred, isn't it because of their status? So wouldn't that change if their status changed? Same question.
No, it's because of their skin. See, they don't like their skin. Why do you think you mostly see dark-skinned men dating out the most? It's because of their skin tone. It has nothing to do with their status. Because a poor dark-skinned man will go get a YT woman. A rich one will go get a YT woman.
Wait, hold on. If we're going to say it's because of their skin, right? That will be streamed from YT supremacy. That would be brought on by them being taught that their skin wasn't good in the past or even now. But regardless, if they were in rulership, they can cut that off. So are you saying that they will still have their thoughts if they were in rulership, that they would hate their skin? Or is that only because of racism and YT supremacy? So if we took out YT supremacy, wouldn't that take out the hate for their own skin?
No, because like I just said, I don't know if y'all not familiar with the Moors. The Moors were an African group of men and women who went to Spain in Europe. And they subjugated the women. They subjugated the men and the women. And they made the BLK women be into service to them. And they started having sex with the YT Spain women, right? And so they ruled that country for 700 years. This was 700 years before slavery. This was 700 years before any colonization. So this was already deep-rooted in them. They were rulers. They ruled Spain. They were the rulers. They were the Wati men of today over there. And they didn't make their women a protected class. They didn't have a group of women that they called Karens. Women couldn't cry and an entire community would burn down. If you Google the Moors right now and press image, you're gonna see BLK women in servitude of Wati women, bathing them, feeding them. And the Wati woman and the BLK man is laying in the bed together. It's a cartoon depiction, right? But of course, that was over 1,000 years ago. So this is before slavery. This is before any type of Wati supremacy influence. This is just who they are. They hate their skin. Before anybody told them to hate their skin, they hated it. And then here comes this Wati person, here comes this Wati woman in the room, and they thought they seen God.
But at that time, the Moors. Hold on, Jazz Dog. We're going to move around, but I have one more thing to say about that. So at that time, the Moors were ruling certain countries, and they were ruling over white tea people. But isn't it known that every race of men, they take the races of the women that they rule? So how can we hold that against them? You could expound.
Well, because look at all those group of men that take the women, they still pedestalize their women. Wati men, no group of men that you go to whatever you will never see them making their women be in servitude to another group of women. So even when you go look at the Moors, you're gonna see that the BLK women, African women, were in servitude to the Spain women. So that's where the difference comes. They've never peddled, even when you talk about slavery, they sold us before they were sold themselves for some alcohol and fat stuff and a gun. So we got.
So you're saying it's just generational. So you're just saying generationally, BLK men have never valued their women, even if they're not under white supremacy.
Absolutely.
So it seems as though we can just take out the white supremacy. With or without white supremacy, they hated themselves and they hated their women.
Absolutely. And how you know that is how they ever fought against white supremacy. How they even try to point the finger at white supremacy. The only time they bring up white supremacy is when they want to give a reason why they're failures as men. Outside of that, they don't fight against white supremacy. They want a seat at the table with white supremacy. Once they get that table, you're going to see who the real enemy is. I mean, I see it already, but I don't know about everybody else.
So you believe that BLK men are the enemy of BLK women?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. I believe a couple people wanted to chime in. I'm gonna let you chime in, and then I'm gonna introduce the new guest. Pretty, I think you wanted to say something. Larry, I'm not sure. Pretty, definitely can go.
Yeah, no. When I think about bringing up the Moors were not Black people. The Moors were a diverse people, right? They were brown compared to European people. They were not Black. They were in the north part of Africa, which is the same as right now, present day, Muslim countries, Arab countries, right? So when I think about bringing them up as an example, I don't think it's a valid example, right? But what I agree to, or actually, I don't agree with anything. I don't agree with any of it.
Okay, 1 second, Pretty, before you go in, hold your thought. I will be reading comments off of YouTube. Tutu says, Moors aren't Black. It was a diverse group of Arab people. Go ahead, Pretty.
Yeah, so for me, when I think about the construct of why, she said a lot of things. She said self-hatred. She said responsible for their failures. All of these things are a result of white supremacy, or white supremacy. And I don't care if you think I'm making people into a victim. I think that this is history. I also think that where we are in present day, we have enough information to be able to unlearn a lot of these things. So I don't give them excuses for their behavior. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, This has nothing to do with white supremacy. It has nothing to do with it. That would be inherently false, and that would be a lie, right? These same men who came over, these same people who came over and took hundreds and hundreds of years to convince the okay people to not like themselves. No one is going to turn around and tell me these same race of men are going to be the first ones to think that we are attractive and we are desirable. I'm sorry. I agree that they do think we are. I do not agree that they are the first. I don't agree with that. And you bring up the Moors as a poor example because this is it's not a black race, right? But so that's kind of where I'm going.
Okay, let me introduce the new guest. The person with the symbols, if you could give your age, race, pronouns, and country.
Yes. 32, black, he, him, and I'm in New York.
All right, we could say be okay for prompt. White teen men are first in recognizing the beauty of be okay women. True or false? 2 points to back it up. But before we do, I think I got like 2 heart me's today. Anytime you come in, you can heart me by my name. It helps me reach my goal, which is 100 heart me's a day. So if you can heart me by my name.
Sometimes, not all the time. Maybe for BLK men who don't like their moms, they might not recognize beauty in BLK women all the time. And two points to back it up. Well, if you look at the stats, it's BLK men in America mostly pursue BLK women. Marriages from BLK men are mostly to BLK women. The second stat is BLK men mostly.
Okay. Open up the panel for rebuttals and expounding on your point.
Here's the thing: the Arabic people did not exist then. This predates colonization, where YT people came into different countries and diluted people's race. So Arabic people did not exist when the Moors went over to Spain. That's just not true. So if you're not diverse in the education of the Moors, you shouldn't speak on it. The Moors were BLK people. When these red pill BLK men on podcasts want to go through a history lesson and talk about how we were kings and queens and how we ruled, they always love to go to the Moors. But now when you have a pick-me on the panel who wants to take accountability off of them, she wants to change. She's going to go against them and say, no, they're not BLK. They were Arabic in the northern parts of Africa. And if that makes any difference, right? So this predates Arabic people because this is before colonization. And I land my plane there.
All right. Was that towards Pretty?
Absolutely.
Pretty, would you like? Well, hold on, you guys. I do not police. As long as you're not using profanity, you are not using racial slurs. I do not police. I do ask if anyone wants to drop someone, send a hinky light, put their name in the chat. They have to take a break from the panel. Other than that, I do not police. So I guess we'll go ahead with another round of this debate, maybe 2 rounds. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Pretty.
All right, this is the first time I've been called a pygmy. It's a good day for the new things, right? The fact of the matter is that there's a couple things that can be true at once. I can say on one end that all of this stuff, self-hate within our community has an origin. I could say on the second end, I do not believe if YT supremacy were not a thing, that BLK men would just choose other women. I don't believe that's true. I think that's false, right? And in the third thing, I can say that I hold men fully accountable, BLK men, for the way that they're acting now and the reason why our women feel the need to step out, right? All of those things can be true. But what I don't like is when people include their own personal hate and vitriol, whatever the hell happened to you in your life, so that when you hear people speak objectively on the question posed, you are unable to see past yourself and your own hurt, and you want to call them names, and you want to get disrespectful. If you want to go ahead and do all that, we can do that, right? However, I don't believe in getting that because this was a discussion. The host asked a very specific question, and she had to ask you 3 different times, but you can answer it because you are so focused on whatever it is that your point was, right? You could not even answer a hypothetical question, right? So my thing is that I like to participate in a discussion away from myself and my own personal experiences, right? I like to participate in that, and I'll bring my anecdotal experiences in, and I'll say, hey, you know what? Based on this, here's what I think. That's what I think, and I'm gonna stand on what I think. You can call me a pick-me until you're blue in the face, but there is not one person that's more active about Black BLK men taking accountability in my community than I am, right? So you're not gonna sit here and call somebody a pick-me simply because I'm stating I do not believe the same men who subjugated our women and put us in the outhouse are also the same men who think that we are the most beautiful. That is an asinine thing to say. I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's go around. Let's move along. Latte, what do you think about the exchange with Jazz Doll and Pretty?
Jazz Doll. Oh Lord, you was preaching. But I just have to give you your props first. But I mean, I just feel like this, that we have to really understand about the difference between men and women and then interject race into that. It's not even real. It was invented to keep people apart. That's number one. Okay, so let's start there. Number two, even though the word was not used, a lot of eugenics is being spoken in the conversation, and that's another construct that was created. So at the end of the day, I feel like Pretty got some point, but it just isn't true anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that the statistic that was said about, 80% of Black men, BLK men, still marry BLK women. That's 20%. That's it. That's the only 20% of BMs are only marrying, period. Never mind with BWs. This is a totally different world now. And at the end of the day, our BMs are just not good advocates for our BWs. And it just is what it is, dog. And I'll land.
Wow. This is getting deep. You with this? What's your name? Because you give your name because you don't have a name on your profile.
My name is Walter, but
okay, Walter, go ahead, and you say you didn't agree with Jazz Doll. Go ahead and rebuttal her.
Well, the reason I say that is because 77% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. If we really didn't like Black women, that wouldn't happen.
Okay, could you expound?
Well, yeah, why would we try to put her in power if we just didn't like BW women? It just makes no sense.
Can I respond to him, Sissy? Can I respond?
Go ahead.
I don't know what voting for Kamala Harris has to do with the topic, but also with this election is the highest it's ever been where BLK men voted Republican in history. The one time that it's a supposedly BLK woman, that's the highest number they have of Republican votes for Trump. So I don't know what you thought you was cooking, but turn the stove on first.
Do you have a source for that, or is that your opinion?
It's the same source that you got there, 77%. Go read that.
So you don't have a source. Gotcha.
Where's your source?
So I'm gonna post my source in the chat, and I expect her to match mine. Give me 3 minutes.
Okay.
Wow. Moving right along. Let's go to that has been said or bring something new.
So there's my source, Jazz Doll. Please post yours.
Okay, we got it. I don't see it, but hold on. Larry, if you could chime in.
Yes, you're not going to see anything that's posted a link in the chat. You can't post links in lives like this.
Go to my YouTube. 1 second. Go to my YouTube and post the link so she can look at it. We all can look at it on the YouTube. I'm streaming live from YouTube right now, Poetic Lady. So post it there in the comment section. Go ahead, Larry.
Give me a second. I'm trying to multitask here. I really don't have anything to say on what's these conversations were going on. That last point that you had on your prompt, I hadn't responded to that. Did you?
Outside influences have tried to convince white teen men BLK women aren't good. Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and respond.
Yes. Okay. So prior to the internet, I didn't see anything trying to influence the decisions I was making in my life like that, or what I was attracted to. And even up until, prior to social media becoming so influent and having such an influence on our society, I didn't see it. Now I do see a lot more on TikTok, on like Instagram Reels, even on YouTube, of this whole bashing going on of the BLK woman. And it's not changed my opinion on anything, because I had my opinion set years ago. But I can see it impacting other white teen men who may be interested in pursuing a BLK woman.
Wow. So basically, paraphrasing, you are saying that you do see an influence going on to try to convince others that BLK women aren't a good choice. But you're not affected by it, but others are being affected by it.
I'm saying that if they've not taken that step already to try to pursue a relationship with a BLK woman, that could possibly influence them. If they're already been in a relationship, I don't think they're going to, because they're going to see that false narrative that's being thrown around. And that's the way I look at it. It's like, I would love to jump on some of these panels, but they're going to put so much hate on me. And I've got, things out here on the internet. I'm in the tech industry, so I don't need a bunch of backlash coming in on me. But I don't agree with any of the stuff that happens on those panels.
Wow. Thank you for chiming in, Larry. We'll go ahead and open it back up. This guy, he said he was going to drop the link. He dropped himself instead of dropping the link. Let's see. DMV, would you like to chime in?
You can't send links on YouTube either. Somebody would have to, if you've got a Discord channel.
He can just put the source. He doesn't have to put a link. He can just put the source, the website. He can put a website. He doesn't have to put the link.
I just put my website.
You're breaking up. Give me 1 second. Anybody can put the website, the source, the survey inside the comment section. They don't have to actually put the link. Go ahead. You came back.
You can't see that right there? That NBC, you can't see that? I can see it.
I think TikTok blots it out because it's not allowed. So I don't see it. But let's move on. I already told you put on the YouTube, or just say the website. Just put the website inside the chat. All right, you guys. I'm going to have to go ahead and end this stream. We didn't reach the live goal to extend. I may be back on later, but right now I've got to go ahead and end. But thank you all for coming. Any last words?
I want to let you know something really quick. I cannot recharge, and somebody else said that they tried to recharge to get coins, and it's not happening either.
Me. Yeah, I can't.
No one can get coins, so that's probably why no one has contributed anymore to the live.
Okay. No problem.
Give it a couple hours, because once the new administration signs that executive order, Apple Pay is going to probably become active again. That's what's holding me up, because I dumped all my coins on Sunday or on Saturday night before they shut everything off. And
okay, I don't really want to make this a topic of conversation on the panel on the live stream. We could put that type of thing in the comments. I already replied to you, DMV, in the comments. That's fine. for everyone that wanted to support and couldn't, I understand that is fine. I do appreciate you still being here and tapping the screen. But I will go ahead and extend the live a little bit later. And thank you all for coming. Let me check my coins.
Yeah, Jazz is a goddess, either way. She's amazing.
So Jazz is a goddess. If you wanted to argue with her and then call her a goddess, that's cute.
I do.
Well, at least you were nice about that. You just don't agree with her, but she's a goddess. That's fair.
She'll always
I'm
be a
trying to
goddess.
see if it's gonna let me. All right, I'll do that later. But thank you all for coming. Everyone can drop. I will try to stream again, like maybe in an hour or two. I want to cut down the lives anyhow, but usually I would just stop and restart it right back because I don't want it to be so long where it's hard to upload. But thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube, you guys. My goal right now is 100 subscribers. I think I'm at 93. So I'm almost to the goal. If you guys can help me get to 100 subscribers, and I will go upload some past videos once I get to 100 subscribers. Again, if you're not subscribed, just go to Poetic Lady on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you could like, comment on the videos that is posted. Also, the shorts is not just videos. There's some shorts there. You have to click on shorts. And I just uploaded some live streams. I got to check it out today. I'm hoping it wasn't lagging. I heard someone say it was lagging, so I got to check that out. But thank you for coming, and we will go ahead and start a live later on, like maybe a couple hours. Thank you guys for the taps on your way out. And also subscribe to my TikTok and my YouTube. Pain and Faith says she's so gorgeous. Who are you talking about? Very interesting topic today. If you want to go ahead and look back at it, go to YouTube. I did post it live.